Good evening. We're continuing with the halachas of Rosh Hashanah using Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch in our series of the laws of the high holidays. This is Siman Taf Kuf Pehei, the Seder, the order of Tkiyas de Miyushav, the Tkiyas which is done sitting down. As we'll see, Tkiyas should be done standing. And the reason why it's called Tkiyas of sitting is because there are generally two sections when we do Tkiyas. There are the Tkiyas that are done before Shemona Esrei, after the reading of the Torah, which technically you're allowed to sit. Although the custom is to stand, you are allowed to sit during those Tkiyas. And later on, we have in the middle of the Shemona Esrei, also known as the Amidah, where we stand when the shofar is blown. So although we stand both times, the first set when the shofar is sounded is called the Tkiyas of sitting, or the sitting Tkiyas. And ironically, he begins and tells us that the one that blows the shofar has to stand. The person has to blow shofar standing. Shenemar, as the pasuk tells us, it should be a day of sounding the shofar. It should be lochem to you. Now, one of the principles of deriving understandings or contexts from verses in the Torah is finding parallel words. And it says, Yom Trua Lochem. It also says regarding Sphira, the counting, it says, Esfartem Lochem. It uses the word Lochem. And just like over there, when it talks about counting, the word Lochem is used, and it means that you do it when you're standing. Similarly here, when it talks about shofar, and it says the word Lachem, we also understand that the one that's blowing the shofar should stand while they sound the shofar. And therefore, it's not just that you should stand when you blow the shofar, but you should not even lean on something. And this applies to all places where Jewish law says stand. Certain tefillah, especially in Esrei and so on, we're supposed to stand. You can't lean, because if you lean in such a manner that if you remove whatever you're leaning on, you would fall, you're not standing on your own. And therefore, the person that's sounding the shofar has to stand upright. You could lean a little bit onto something, but if you're leaning to the extent that if you move it, you would fall, then it's not considered to be truly standing. However, what happens if somebody transgressed, and even though you're supposed to stand, he sat, or he leaned? You still fulfill the mitzvah of shofar, and you don't have to sound the shofar again. You have to stand. If you didn't, you're still yetzer. Why? Because the standing is only a midivrei seifrim, it's only a rabbinic thing. And therefore, if you didn't keep to it, you still fulfill the mitzvah in its entirety, and it does not have to be done again. Those that listen to the tkiyas, till now we're talking about those that blow, the one that blows the shofar, the one that actually sounds it. The ones that are listening to it, even though they didn't fulfill their mitzvah yet. It's not like they heard it in the morning before, they heard part of it. They're listening now for the first time. They do not have to stand. Again, the custom generally is that we do stand, but they don't have to. In addition, ne'agin, the custom is litkoya ala bima, we sound the shofar by the bima, which is the same place where the Torah is read, and it's usually in the center of the shul. And the ro'i, it's appropriate to appoint someone to blow the shofar that's a tzaddik and a hogon, a pious person, a fit person, spiritually. There should not be any arguing about it. They shouldn't have a political discussion or debate. There should have some kind of fight or hurt feelings by deciding who should sound the shofar. So you want to have a pious person, a holy, someone that's in spiritually good standing, but at the same time, you don't want to fight about it either, which has its own very important lesson. Certain things are important, but we can't forget that peace and getting along is equally, if not more important. Next, before he sounds the shofar, he makes a bracha while he's standing. And bracha is a shakid yishalom mitzvah tzivanu, which is the beginning of every mitzvah. If you're making a bracha to put on tefillin or lighting Shabbos candles, whatever it may be, you say the same beginning, which means, ironically, we discussed this morning. Also, we're talking about brachas, but shakid yishalom mitzvah, who sanctified us with his mitzvahs, with tzivanu, and he commanded us lishmaya kol shofar, to hear the sound of the shofar. You should not say bih kol shofar, to hear in the sound of the shofar, because in Hebrew that would sound like you have to listen listen, not just hearing, but follow the instruction, so to speak, of the shofar. Or b'shofar. Why don't we say? So we can't say the mitzvah is to listen to the sound of the shofar, because that sounds like it's a message that you have to listen to, as opposed to the actual voice, sound. We say b'shofar. Why don't we say l'tukoya b'shofar, blowing in the shofar? Because blowing is not the main part of the mitzvah. The main part of the mitzvah is to blow. The mitzvah is not the blowing. The mitzvah is the hearing of the sound. Because somebody who was blowing shofar but he didn't hear the sound, in whatever manner it was done, maybe he put a mask too thick, whatever it was, he blew but didn't hear. He's not yetzer the mitzvah. Sound, not about the blowing. We're going to have later on, if someone uses a stolen shofar, if it's yetzer or not, and the answer is that you are, because the point is the sound and not the shofar itself. But that's why we don't say the tkoya the shofar, but we say the shmaya kol shofar. However, if a person made a mistake and he made a bracha to blow shofar, to sound shofar, not to hear the shofar, or he said the bekel instead of bashofar, you still have fulfilled the mitzvah as long as you heard the sounding of the shofar. To remember that it's not just a question of semantics. We're talking about a biblical mitzvah here. It's a command. It's the deraisa. It has to be done in a particular way. But even if you made the wrong bracha, you're still yetzer. It also shows you how every word in davening is specific, it's accurate, and it's not just whatever. Especially when it comes to a bracha or a mitzvah. And we should pay attention and be careful to use the proper wording from a siddur, from a machzer, the way it's supposed to be. That's bracha number one. There's a second bracha that we make by sounding the shofar. Acha bracha zu yivarach shechiyanu. You make a bracha shechiyanu. The fishi mitzvah haba mizman mizman. It's a mitzvah which comes seasonally. In our case, once a year, and therefore it's special. And we thank Hashem for bringing us to this time. Whether you're blowing for yourself, or you already heard the shofar, or you blew the shofar. Now you're going amef tzayim. The Rebbe instituted to go and sound the shofar for others. This year we're doing shofar in the street. And you're blowing for someone else. You still make shechiyanu for them, even though you already heard. Now, when do you do this for the other person? If the one that's listening to you does not know how to make the bracha. But if he does know how to make the bracha, he should make the bracha himself, and not to hear from someone who already fulfilled the mitzvah making the bracha. So again, if he can't make the bracha, you make it for him. You're being made to him the bracha, and that's the way it should be done. But if you make the bracha himself, or you can help him make it, he should definitely do it. So 2 brachas, standing. After he makes these 2 brachas, you do 3 sets of the 3 types of tkiyas. The first one is a sound tkiyah. We'll learn more about it in Mitzvah Hashem, how exactly it's supposed to be, but it's a long sound, then there's 3 shorter sounds, and then there's 9 very short sounds, or at least 9 very short sounds, and you close the set with another tkiyah. I see Facebook is trying to reconnect. And then you do tashat 3 times, and then tarat 3 times. So you go through each way of blowing, or each interpretation of what it means, or understanding of what it means, in 3 times. If someone is not sure if he heard shofar on the first day. Now this year, the first day is Shabbos, but you don't blow shofar. But someone is not sure on the first day if he heard the shofar, which the first day of Rosh Hashanah, it's Minat Torah, it's a biblical command, is Deiraisa. You have to blow it again. But don't make a bracha if you're not sure. You may have heard it already, because the principle is, and we've learned this here many times, that Safek bracha is lahakel. If you are not sure when it comes to a bracha, you should be lenient and not say Hashem's name in vain, not make the bracha for no reason. So if someone's not sure how that's possible, I don't know. But if you're not sure if you heard the sound of the shofar or you didn't, you should, if it's the first day, you should hear the shofar again, but don't make another bracha. If it's the second day, which is only dirabanan, it's only a rabbinic enactment, if you're not sure, you don't have to listen to shofar again, because divrei seifrim lahakol. The suffix divrei seifrim lahakol. When there's an uncertainty of things that are related to rabbinic enactments, we are lenient about it in this type of setup. There are places where we're more strict, but here we're more lenient. It's a very interesting thing. It's not so easy to do through practice. It's good to blow the shofar on the right side of your mouth, if possible, because it says that the Satan, the evil angel, the one that is prosecuting angel, is standing on the right side, trying to disturb him. And when you blow the tekiah, when you blow shofar, you are flustering him or confusing him. You're getting him out of the way. So it's appropriate it's good, you should blow shofar from the right side of your mouth. You should hold the shofar, we have a shofar here, we should hold it upwards, not to the side. In other words, it could be the side, but it has to be facing upwards. It says, and we say this before, it's in Tehillim, we say it before blowing of the shofar, that Elikim, which is one of the names of Hashem, that we use to express Hashem's judgment or discipline, strictness, severity, goes upwards, and it gets transformed, or it reveals a level which is known as Avaya, which is Hashem's kindness. So we switch from judgment to compassion. And the word that's used is going upwards. So we want the shofar to face upwards. Im hischil, running out of time, but let's finish the next. Im hischil it koya. A person started to blow the shofar, and shouldn't happen. He's not able to finish. He's so inspired that he can't get the sound out. So if he can't finish all 30 tekiyos, he should have someone else blow the shofar instead of him. If the second person can't, have a third person. If the third person can't, it doesn't matter how many people you need. The next person could do it, the next person could do it, and so on. And they don't have to make another bracha. Because when the first person made the bracha, he already included all those that are going to hear everyone that's there, the mitzvah. And if they have to blow, they could blow as well. They don't have to make a bracha again. And even if he didn't make any sounds, he tried, he couldn't even get one sound out, that's still not a bracha levatala, because he had in mind to be mitzvah everyone else. Everyone else should be able to fulfill this mitzvah by hearing the shofar. And therefore, those that are going to blow afterwards or listening afterwards are yetzer with his bracha. One more detail he says here, however, if a guy walks into shul and he wasn't there when you made the bracha, and they're having a hard time getting the shofar going, and he says, I can do it for you, he has to make a bracha again because he didn't hear the original bracha, that he could be yetzer from that as well. It's a shame to be continued.